It was his very first release and hit from October 2004. That's James Blunt's High. And before James, you were listening to Sean, who'll be back on your radio a little bit later on this week. Well, good morning to you. Thank you for joining me on the early Monday night cruise from Freedom FM. And you know, you need to stick around, right? Because not only will you hear the best 90s and noughties, romance, relaxing and chilled tunes, I'll also give you a shot at our Love Slowed Down game just after 1. And if that wasn't enough, we'll soon be ringing the last few drops out of the weekend when we find out what you have been up to. And I'll tell you more about that in a moment. My name's Feargal, and if you feel like connecting with me this morning for any reason whatsoever, don't hesitate. Send me a text or WhatsApp to 085 2899092. And if you are using WhatsApp, then why not send a voice note, because I do love to hear from you. If you want to email me, then you can shoot me one to hello@freedomfm.ie. And if you're on the socials, you can find me there on Voice Actor Fergs on Insta, Threads and Blue Sky. Welcome to our cozy night cruise on Freedom FM, where we're surrounded by the soothing, romantic and chill melodies of the 90s and noughties. So tell me, how was your weekend? Now, whether it was filled with adventure or relaxation, I'd love to hear about it for a part of the show fondly called We Know What You Did Last Weekend. Yeah, I know, it's a bonkers name, but it's all in good fun, really. So feel free to reach out on WhatsApp to 085 2899092 and let's celebrate your weekend escapades together. As for me, well, if you're familiar with my routine, you know, it was a rugby-filled weekend. I was up in Belfast to watch Ulster v Benetton on Friday night, and I tell you, I really enjoyed the late-night drive back to Dublin after the game. The motorway was empty, and Freedom FM was on full volume in the car. On Saturday, I was glued to the TV, watching the Lions v Munster, Stormers v Leinster, and finally Dragons versus Connacht. While on Sunday, it was all about cleaning the house and doing the garden, and isn't it always about cleaning the house and doing the garden? Out of a weekend at this time of the year. Then I was off to the airport to pick up my youngest, who'd spent the weekend in the UK with her partner. Now, I'm sure your weekend was either more thrilling or more tranquil than mine, so why not share your experiences on WhatsApp 085 2899092 and let's savour the last few moments of the weekend before we all dive back into work a little bit later on this morning. Released from her 1995 Medusa album, that was Annie and her version of Whiter Shade of Pale, serenading us on our night cruise from Freedom FM. Well, good morning. And before we go any further, let me say thank you to everyone who's been in touch to let us know what you've been doing this weekend. So let's kick off this week's We Know What You Got Up To This Weekend by saying a bright good morning to Mia Watson, who says that she and her partner Arthur Green spent their Friday night in St. Andrew's Parish Church, swaying along to the music of Coldplay and Imagine Dragons, played by the Evoca String Quartet at a candlelight concert. I tell you what, Mia, sounds like a night well spent to me, and I do like those candlelight concerts, to be honest with you. And up next, we've got a WhatsApp from Jack Coleman from Dunleary, and he says he took his wife Jane and kids Fred and Lily for a trip in the vintage T-bus on Sunday afternoon. We had a great tour of the city and a nice afternoon tea along with some free merch to take home afterwards, says Jack. You know, I've done that, Jack. It's brilliant, isn't it? And thanks for reaching out and letting us know what you got up to this weekend. Now remember, there's still time to share your weekend adventures with me on text or WhatsApp to 085 2899092 because we'll do another round of We Know What You Got Up To This Weekend after we lend our ears to the Hothouse Flowers. And remember, keep those stories coming. I'm sure that was released in November 1998, and it's from his self-titled debut album. That's Tyrese Gibson and Sweet Lady on the Night Cruise from Freedom FM, where we are celebrating your weekend escapades in a segment called We Know What You Got Up To This Weekend. So let's dive into the final round with a cheery good morning to Charlie Fitzpatrick in Cork, who says on this WhatsApp, 085 2899092, Fergs, this afternoon I went with my kids Tom and Edward to watch Cork take on Clare in the Munster Senior Championship. The boys loved the game so much they were still talking about it when we put them to bed a while ago. You know what, Charlie? I remember the days when my kids were young and couldn't stop talking about their day as they went to bed, and it was always a great feeling, isn't it? Up next, it's Isabel Dillon from Belfast who says, Fergs, on Saturday night I went with my hubby Ben to watch Colin and Aaron from the Bomb Squad pod do a live show at the Waterfront Hall. It was a great show and I'd recommend seeing them live, says Isabel. Thanks for reaching out, Isabella. And I have to say, I do enjoy their podcast, though I haven't seen them live just yet. And remember, if you enjoyed hearing about our weekend adventures, well, you know what to do. Spread the word and join us next Monday morning just after midnight when we'll be ready to do it all over again. Number 3 back in summer 1990, that's George Michael and Praying for Time. And do you remember what you were doing in summer 1990? I bet you will when I say Italia 90. Good morning, it's Freedom FM's Night Cruise. My name is Feargal. Thanks for stopping by. And the good news is you've tuned in just in time for our Love Slowed Down game. And in the event that you've forgotten, here's how it works. In a moment, I'll play you a snippet of a 90s or noughties romantic or relaxing song slowed down from 45 to 33 and a bit RPM. And your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to identify just what song this is. So if you think you've got it, then WhatsApp me your answer to 085 2899 092 for a chance to win the amazing prize of a shout out on the radio just before 2. And because you really want to win that prize, you probably want to hear the song again, don't you? Oh, 085 2899 092 if you know what song that is. And don't worry, if I get any wrong answers, I'll share some of them with you right after we hear from Gabrielle. It's Freedom FM's Night Cruise, and from spring 93 and the infamous leg-crossing movie Sliver, that's UB40's I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. And talking of Sliver, can you remember who the killer was? Was it Vida the model, Jack the novelist, or Zake with all the cameras? Before I tell you, I want to say a big thank you to all of you early birds who've been playing along with our Love Slowed Down game this morning. And if you've just tuned in or wondering what Love Slowed Down is all about, here's the scoop. You see, a few moments ago, I played a snippet of a famous 90s or noughties romance or relaxing song, but with a twist. It slowed down from 45 to 33 and a bit RPM. And your challenge is to tell me what song you think it is that I've slowed down. So before I play the song for you again, let's clear up some of the guesses that missed the mark, including I'll Never Break Your Heart by the Backstreet Boys, I Want You Back by NSYNC, and Endless Love by Mariah. So, with those out of the way, here's your last chance to hear this week's Love Slowed Down song. So if you think you've cracked it and want to be in with a shot of a name check just before 2 a.m, WhatsApp your solution to 085 2899 092. But don't dawdle, the answer is coming up right after Lisa. Oh, and the killer in Sliver? It was Jack the novelist. From 94, that's Boyzone's Love Me For A Reason, serenading you on Freedom FM's Night Cruise. Now, I want to give a big shout out to all of you night owls who've been playing along with our Love Slowed Down game. And the challenge I set you this morning was to identify the famous 90s or noughties romance or relaxing song that I slowed down from listening to this short snippet. I received a flurry of correct answers, but due to our system's quirks, I can only give a nod to 4 of you at any one time. So this morning, let's roll out the red carpet for Sophie Barry, who's tuning in from Kilkenny, Thomas Lynch, joining us this morning from Maynooth, Claire Roach, who's up with the Owls in Dunleary, Fred Barr, who reached out from Swords in Dublin, who all nailed this morning's Love Slowed Down. But wait, before I spill the beans on the answer, how about doing me a solid? If you had fun playing Love Slowed Down, then you know what to do. Spread the word and join us next Monday just after 1 a.m. for another round. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the answer to this week's Love Slowed Down is, drum roll please, or not, Nicole and Robbie, and Something Stupid. That Savage Garden and Truly Madly Deeply tells me that is all the mess I can make of your radio this morning. Thank you for your company, both you and your messages made to the show, as always. Now, Michael B will be serving breakfast at 8, and just before him, Alan will be here with the Freedom Years from 7. As for me, well, I'll be back later on this evening at 11 with another night cruise. Until then, thank you for your time this time. So until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.